You don't chase wealth, you align with it. The moment you stop struggling is the moment the universe starts delivering. Most people live their lives believing that wealth is something to be earned through blood, sweat, and relentless hustle. They carry the weight of struggle like a badge of honor, convinced that only hard labor leads to abundance. But what if I told you that wealth is not earned, it is allowed, it is not pursued, it is received? And the reason it has not shown up in your life the way you've wanted is because you've been too busy forcing instead of relaxing. There is a great secret hidden in plain sight. The universe responds not to your desperation, but to your vibration. The more you push, the more you affirm that what you desire is not yet yours. You speak of wanting more, but you radiate the energy of lack. You pray for financial breakthrough while harboring thoughts of insufficiency. This inner contradiction is the invisible wall that keeps wealth away from you. The answer is not more effort, it's inner ease. Think of the ocean. When you thrash about in panic, you sink. But when you relax and float, you rise. Wealth works the same way. When you are at peace, aligned and open, the universe delivers riches in ways that logic cannot explain. But when you are tense, fearful, and striving, you close the very door through which abundance was trying to reach you. True wealth begins in consciousness. It is not in the bank. It is in the mind. It is not held in gold or dollars. It is born in stillness. You must train yourself to feel wealthy before the money comes. You must dare to believe that your inner state creates your outer world. This is not a philosophy. It is a spiritual law. You don't manifest what you want, you manifest what you are. If you are constantly affirming that you are struggling, the universe says, as you wish. If you constantly affirm that you are already wealthy, already provided for, already blessed, the universe begins to shape your world to match that conviction. The world is a mirror, and it reflects your dominant inner assumptions. Relaxation is not laziness, it is spiritual trust. It is the highest form of faith. It is saying, I no longer need to stress because I know the universe is working in my favor. It's in those silent, still moments, when you lean back, smile, and give thanks in advance, that miracles unfold. You are not meant to live in scarcity. You are not born to constantly worry about bills or doubt your dreams. You were created to receive, to expand, to experience life in fullness. But the door to that life swings open through surrender, not struggle. So if you've been trying too hard, fighting the flow, questioning your path, stop, breathe. Relax, the universe is already moving on your behalf. You do not need to fight for abundance. You need only allow it. The wealth you desire already exists, but it is waiting for you to match its frequency. Let the war inside your mind end. Let your heart rest. Let your imagination rise. Wealth is coming, but it won't come through tension. It will come through alignment. The moment you trust, the moment you believe, the moment you relax, that is the moment you begin to receive. Most people misunderstand the power of relaxation. They assume it's passive, even irresponsible, when it comes to manifesting money. But relaxation is not weakness. It is deep alignment with the truth of abundance. In the unseen world where manifestations are born, relaxation is a loud message to the universe that you already trust, already believe, and already receive. It is a declaration that there is no fear, no scarcity, and no panic. And that declaration moves mountains. When your body is tense, your thoughts become clouded. You cannot visualize clearly, you cannot imagine freely, and most of all, you cannot receive what the universe is sending your way. Tension is resistance. It's like static noise that blocks the signal of abundance. You may be praying for money, working hard, hustling day and night, but if your energy is filled with fear, anxiety, and doubt, you are tuning out the frequency of wealth. Relaxation, on the other hand, is the act of surrendering to your inner knowing. It is sitting still in your mind and whispering, I am already taken care of. It's letting your imagination feel the comfort of security. It's allowing yourself to breathe with the confidence of someone who knows that all things are working together for their good. That feeling is not just comforting, it's magnetic. You have to understand that the universe is not responding to your actions alone. It is responding to your state of being. If your state is chaotic, worried, and desperate, you attract more chaos and lack. But if your state is calm, grateful, and open, you attract ease, solutions, and wealth. It's not about doing more, it's about being more in tune with the invisible river of creation. Relaxation is the bridge between your desire and its manifestation. When you relax, you stop chasing and start receiving. You stop begging and start trusting. You stop forcing outcomes and begin allowing divine orchestration. This does not mean you sit on your hands and do nothing. It means that when you do act, your actions are inspired, flowing, and joyful, not panicked or pressured. There is a vast difference between acting from fear and acting from peace. Start observing how your body reacts when you think about money. Do you tighten up? Does your chest feel heavy? That tension is a signal that you are misaligned. That's when you need to pause, breathe deeply, and remind yourself, wealth is not far, it is here. I am one with it. When your mind believes this, your nervous system calms down, and your energy opens up like a receiver waiting for the signal of abundance. The rich, whether they know it consciously or not, have mastered this art. They carry an energy of expectation, not desperation. They are relaxed in their belief that money will come, opportunities will find them, and doors will open. This isn't arrogance, it is alignment. So the first step in allowing the universe to bring you wealth is to relax, not because you're giving up, but because you're finally allowing it to happen. Let your being radiate peace. Let your breath be slow and steady. Let your mind be anchored in trust. That stillness becomes your signal. That peace becomes your magnet. That relaxation becomes your divine invitation to the riches waiting to find you. There is no wealth without first being wealthy in thought. No matter how hard you work or how many hours you put in, your outer world can never exceed the blueprint of your inner world. The truth is, your life is simply a reflection of your dominant inner convictions. And the most powerful realization you can come to is this: you are not creating wealth by action. You are revealing wealth by imagination. What you consistently believe about money, success, and worthiness forms the very shape of your life experience. If you wake up every day believing that money is hard to earn, that you're always one step behind, that opportunities belong to others but not you, then your external reality must align with that belief. This is not punishment, it is spiritual law. The universe mirrors what you hold within. Wealthy people often say, I always knew I would be rich. They say it with ease, not from arrogance, but from a deep-rooted belief that their life would unfold with abundance. They trained their inner world long before the material evidence appeared. And once the inner belief was solid, the outer circumstances began to conform. Your current reality is not a prison. It is a printout of past inner programming. But here's the good news. Just as a printer follows the command of a new file, your life will begin to shift the moment you upload a new inner belief system. You can rewire yourself into wealth by flooding your inner world with new thoughts, new emotions, and new visions. To do this, you must stop rehearsing scarcity. Stop telling the story of struggle. Stop identifying with lack. Begin each day in stillness. Close your eyes and imagine yourself already living in wealth. Walk through a day in your mind as if you have everything you need. Feel the freedom, feel the joy, feel the expansion. Don't just say it, believe it. Don't just think it, feel it in your bones. You're not lying to yourself when you do this. You're telling the universe what to create next. Your imagination is not fantasy. It is instruction. The inner world is the workshop. It is the womb from which all physical manifestations are born. When you imagine yourself wealthy and feel it with intensity, your mind begins to search for confirmation of that reality. Opportunities become visible. Inspired ideas begin to rise. Resources show up in places you never looked before. This is not magic, it is alignment. What you feed your mind becomes your experience. If you feed it lack, it produces limitation. If you feed it wealth, it begins the sacred work of making wealth real. Guard your inner world. Fill it with prosperity, with peace, with confidence. Make your inner world so rich that the outer world has no choice but to obey. Remember, wealth is not a destination, it is a state, and that state must exist within you first. The deeper you go within, the more riches will rise without. There is no separation. Your outer world is your inner world made visible. This is one of the most misunderstood principles of manifestation. People often confuse wanting with receiving. They believe that strong desire alone is enough to attract abundance. But the universe does not respond to begging, craving, or wanting. It responds to being. What you are on the inside is what becomes real on the outside. If you constantly think, I want to be rich, you are unknowingly affirming that you are not rich right now. The desire comes from a place of lack, and so the universe reflects that lack back to you. It keeps you in a cycle of desiring without possessing. The law is simple but profound. You attract not what you desire, but what you believe yourself to be. That's why some people who do very little seem to receive so much. Their secret lies not in their effort, but in their identity. They see themselves as abundant, so the world conforms to match that self-pitch. On the other hand, someone can work endlessly, stay busy, stress out, and still struggle financially. Why? Because inside they still feel broke, still feel undeserving, still feel small. Your internal assumptions create your outer reality. If you assume you are always struggling, even when money comes in, it will disappear quickly. If you assume wealth is hard to keep, you will sabotage it every time. But if you assume wealth is natural, easy, and constant, your actions and your reality will flow in that direction. To change your life, you must shift your identity. See yourself as already being the person who lives in abundance. Wake up and act like someone who has already received. Walk with the confidence of someone who is already supported by the universe. Speak with the ease of someone who knows that more is always coming. When you shift from I want wealth to I am wealth, everything begins to change. This is not pretending, it is spiritual alignment. When you embody abundance in your thoughts, your emotions, your habits, your world bends to reflect that embodiment. It becomes impossible for you to stay in lack because you no longer identify with it. You no longer make it your truth. Think of it like a radio station. If you want to hear classical music, you tune into the classical frequency. Wanting it is not enough. You must tune in. Similarly, to receive wealth, you must become wealth. You must speak, think, feel, and act in harmony with it. Only then will the universe recognize you as a match. So the next time you find yourself wanting more money, pause. Ask yourself, who am I being right now? Because until you become the version of you that wealth belongs to, it will remain just beyond your grasp. The shift from wanting to being is the shift that unlocks the floodgates of manifestation. Gratitude is one of the highest vibrations you can carry. It tells the universe that you already believe the blessing is yours. It says, I trust you. I see it. I feel it. And I thank you now, even before it arrives. This energy is magnetic. It draws to you the very reality you are grateful for. But most people only express gratitude after something good happens. They treat gratitude as a reaction, not as a tool. They say thank you after the money arrives, after the bills are paid, after the success comes. While that is still valuable, the true power lies in giving thanks before it shows up. Because when you are grateful in advance, you are announcing that you believe the manifestation is already done. Imagine standing in front of an empty table and saying, thank you for the feast. That kind of faith stirs spiritual forces in ways that logic cannot explain. The universe responds to certainty. Gratitude is your proof of that certainty. It is the evidence of things not yet seen. Gratitude changes your chemistry. It softens your heart, calms your nervous system, and clears your mind. It allows you to live in the feeling of abundance even before your circumstances reflect it. And that is the secret. The feeling creates the reality, not the other way around. Start your day by thanking the universe for the money already on its way. Speak as if the doors have already opened, the check already cleared, the opportunity already manifested. Say it out loud. Thank you for the wealth flowing into my life. As you repeat these words, let them become real inside you. Visualize the moment you see the transfer, hold the keys, or receive the phone call. Smile, feel it, and say thank you again. This practice may feel strange at first, like you're lying to yourself, but you're not. You are telling your subconscious mind what to expect. You are instructing the universe to match your vibration. You are planting seeds of faith that will soon grow into physical results. Gratitude in advance speeds up the process. It closes the gap between the imagined and the experienced. It trains your mind to stay focused on the vision rather than the lack. And the longer you can hold that vibration of thankfulness, the faster your outer world will shift. So use gratitude like a compass. Let it guide you into the feeling of already done. Let it anchor you when doubt creeps in. Let it become your daily habit. Because the one who gives thanks before receiving is the one who receives the fastest. Gratitude is not just a virtue. It is a supernatural gateway into a life of overflowing abundance. Desperation is a sign that you have stopped trusting. It is a signal to the universe that you believe things will not work out unless you control them with anxiety and force. And here lies the problem. When you operate from desperation, you're telling the universe that lack is your reality. But manifestation does not respond to fear. It responds to faith. When you let go of the need to force results and instead lean into trust, you invite a higher intelligence to take over. Divine timing is real. There are things being aligned for you behind the scenes, pieces being moved, people being prepared, and doors being built. So that when you walk forward, everything is in place, but you must stop interrupting the process with panic. When you try to rush it, you push it away. When you constantly question where is it or why isn't it here yet, you create resistance. You place yourself in a loop of doubt, and that loop delays the very manifestation you're longing for. Trusting divine timing doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing your inner work and allowing life to unfold. It means preparing your heart, your mind, and your actions to receive what you asked for without begging for it to come faster. A farmer does not dig up the seed each day to see if it's growing. He waters it, nurtures the soil, and believes that in time the harvest will arrive. That's trust. That's the energy you need to carry. When you remove desperation from your energy, you begin to see signs. You become more sensitive to the nudges of the universe. You hear inner guidance more clearly. Synchronicities appear. Resources seem to arrive at just the right moment. And none of it feels rushed. It all feels perfectly timed. You must understand, your desire is sacred. But it's not just about the destination, it's about becoming the person who is ready for that desire. Sometimes what feels like a delay is really divine protection. The universe will not give you what you're not fully aligned with. That's not punishment. That's love. So breathe. Release the tight grip. Stop begging the universe and start walking in quiet confidence. Say to yourself, what I've asked for is on its way. I don't need to chase it. I prepare for it. That's the mindset of one who trusts. Every moment you let go of desperation, you move closer to manifestation. Every time you choose peace over panic, you tell the universe, I'm ready now, and the universe always listens. Your calm faith is the greatest catalyst for change. Your inner stillness is a magnet for miracles. Trust it. Trust the timing. Trust the unfolding. What's yours cannot miss you. But you must stop chasing it with fear and start meeting it with faith. If your mind cannot hold it, your hands never will. Everything that exists in the physical world first began in the invisible world of imagination. Your bank account, your home, your opportunities, your business. All of it starts in the mind. This is not just a poetic idea. It is the spiritual blueprint for manifestation. You must first see it internally before you ever live it externally. Mental imagery is not daydreaming. It is divine architecture. It is the process of drawing the structure of your future with the pen of your imagination. When you close your eyes and visualize yourself living in wealth, walking through your dream home, checking your account filled with abundance, giving freely without worry, you are sending instructions to the universe. And the universe, with perfect precision, begins building the reality that matches those instructions. Most people never become rich because they've never seen themselves as rich in their minds. They hope for wealth, wish for it, but never truly visualize themselves living it. They've rehearsed failure more than success. They've repeated images of loss, lack, and disappointment so many times that it has become their emotional default. And so the universe simply reflects it back. To change your outer world, you must begin with the inner picture. Set aside time daily, not to worry, but to imagine. Sit in stillness and mentally live in the version of your life that overflows with wealth. Picture the details. What does your day look like? Who are you with? What are you wearing? What emotions are you feeling? This is not fantasy, it is creation. The clearer your mental image, the faster your manifestation. The brain does not distinguish between real experiences and vividly imagined ones. So when you repeatedly visualize your wealthy life, your body, your emotions, and your energy begin to believe it's already true. And the universe follows your lead. You must also eliminate images of fear. Stop imagining worst-case scenarios. Stop replaying the past that broke you. Your imagination is a garden. What you plant will grow. So be intentional. Water it with visions of prosperity. Speak to it with faith. Protect it from weeds of doubt. Every time you create mental imagery, you are aligning with the vibration of that vision. You are sending out a frequency that attracts the circumstances, people, and ideas necessary to fulfill it. But you must stay consistent. One moment of visualization is not enough. Make it your daily practice. Make it a sacred ritual. Wealth begins in your mind long before it enters your wallet. The one who sees clearly will receive boldly. Train your mind to live the life you desire, and in time your reality will mirror that vision. The mental picture is the blueprint. The universe is the builder. Your faith is the permission slip. You have been taught your whole life to hustle, to chase, to strive, to claw your way towards success. But what if the very thing you've been running after is not found in struggle, but in surrender? What if the door to wealth is not pried open by force, but unlocked by faith? The truth is simple and ancient. When you relax, align, and allow, the universe does the heavy lifting. You don't need to chase wealth. You need to match it. You need to align your frequency with that of abundance. And that alignment does not come through stress. It comes through ease. The one who truly understands the laws of creation does not beg for riches. They become rich within. And then the outer world reflects it back. You've seen now that relaxation is your secret weapon, that your inner world must be rich before your bank account ever will. That wanting alone is not enough. You must become the version of yourself that wealth belongs to. You've learned that gratitude in advance is not wishful thinking. It's spiritual confidence. That divine timing is not a delay, it's a perfect orchestration. And that your mental imagery is not fantasy, it's the blueprint for what's to come. And above all, you've discovered that the most powerful work is done not in loud declarations or frantic actions, but in silent stillness. The person who can sit in the middle of chaos and still believe in abundance, that is the person who will witness miracles. So today, make a new choice. Choose to relax. Choose to trust. Choose to walk not in anxiety, but in alignment. Begin your mornings in silence. Fill your thoughts with prosperity. Feel the reality of wealth before it arrives. Say thank you in advance. Release desperation. And let the universe do what it does best, turn imagination into reality. You were never meant to beg for blessings. You were born to receive them. And the path to receiving is not paved with fear, but with faith, peace, and inner power. You are the doorway through which abundance enters. The universe is ready. The wealth is waiting. Your only task now is to relax and allow. There is a sacred power that awakens when you no longer feel the need to explain yourself. When you discover the truth of who you are, not the identity crafted by the opinions of others, but the reality created in imagination, silence becomes your greatest ally. You begin to realize that your world is not responding to the noise around you, but to the inner assumptions you carry quietly, deliberately within. The secret is this. Your imagination is God within you. It is the creative force shaping every event, every person, every outcome in your life. Once you grasp this, truly grasp it, you stop talking so much. You stop defending your dreams, trying to convince others of your vision or seeking validation from the world outside. Why would you need confirmation when the real work is done in stillness? Creation is finished. All that you desire already exists in a dimension unseen by the eyes, but fully known by consciousness. To speak of it prematurely, to share your seed before it has taken root, is to dilute your own power. The moment you name it out loud, you invite contradiction. Others will speak from their own limitations, and if you are not rooted deeply enough, their doubt becomes your distraction. Keep your mouth shut, not out of fear, but out of reverence. What you imagine in secret will declare itself in public. What you assume in silence will echo through the chambers of your life as form, fact, and experience. The world will bow, not because you shouted your dreams, but because you walked in the quiet confidence that they are already real. You don't owe anyone your process. You don't need to explain your faith to minds that haven't seen what you've seen in the stillness of your own being. Speak to yourself in the language of certainty. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Dwell in the end and let the outer world rearrange itself accordingly. Let your results speak for you, not your words. Once you know this secret, that the unseen creates the seen, that the imaginal act is the source of all manifestation, you will treat your thoughts like sacred fire. You will tend them, not toss them carelessly. You will become intentional with your inner speech and silent with your outer one. Because now you understand. The world listens best when you speak through demonstration, not declaration. Everything begins in the unseen realm of imagination. Long before a result shows up in your physical world, it is conceived, shaped, and nurtured within the invisible chambers of your mind. This is not just a poetic idea, it is the foundational truth of reality. Your imagination is not some fleeting daydream or idle fantasy. It is the divine creative force operating within you, through you, as you. The world around you is nothing more than a mirror reflecting the persistent images you hold within your consciousness. Whether you are aware of it or not, every condition of your life is the echo of your inner assumptions. You may think the world responds to your actions, your efforts, or even your words, but in truth, the world responds to your inner state, the feelings and beliefs you consistently entertain. This is why two people can be in the same situation, face the same external facts, and yet experience radically different outcomes. One sees failure and limitation, and therefore confirms that belief through their lived experience. The other sees possibility and fulfillment, and without struggle, begins to walk into a reality shaped by those inner visions. The difference is not in luck or talent, it is in imagination. To understand this is to step into a level of freedom few ever reach. No longer are you a victim of circumstance. You are no longer waiting on the world to change for you to feel better or be better. Instead, you become aware that everything you could ever desire, love, peace, success, healing, already exists in you, not in a theoretical way, but in the most practical and powerful way possible. You carry within you the seed of every experience, and your imagination is the soil in which it grows. The mistake most people make is looking out there to others, to situations, to the opinions and actions of the external world for validation, for proof, for permission. But nothing out there can truly create anything new. The outer world only reflects what is already established within. That is why change must begin at the imaginal level. If you want to see something different in your life, you must dare to imagine it first, clearly, boldly, and consistently, without needing to see immediate evidence. This is not wishful thinking, this is spiritual law. The imaginal act is a causative act. What you imagine and believe with feeling is already on its way to becoming visible. You don't have to beg for it. You don't have to manipulate or force it. You have to accept it inwardly, and in that acceptance, reality reshapes itself to reflect your inner truth. The world rearranges, not because you screamed the loudest, but because your inner assumption became more real to you than the external facts. This is the silent power most never tap into because they are too busy reacting to what is. They see what appears and say this is real and then wonder why they keep getting more of the same. But what is visible is always the fruit of what was once invisible. Every outcome you now face was once just a thought, a belief, a feeling that you entertained and accepted. Whether you were conscious of it or not, you gave it life by your attention. The more you repeated it, the more you assumed it to be true, the more it had no choice but to appear in form. And so the invitation is this: use your imagination deliberately. Treat it not as a toy but as a tool. When you imagine something, you are not just playing with possibility. You are planting seeds in the garden of your reality. Every thought impregnated with belief begins the process of manifestation. So you must choose wisely. Ask yourself, what am I imagining consistently? What inner scenes do I replay over and over again? Do I live more in worry or in wonder, in fear or in faith. Because whatever inner world you build, that will be the world you walk into. This is not always easy, especially when the facts of life seem to scream otherwise. But the facts are not final. They are simply frozen beliefs, hardened into form. You can melt them down with new assumptions. You can imagine beyond your current situation and call forth a new reality. The power is not in the world, it is in you. Your imagination is not separate from life. It is the source of it. The moment you understand this, you will no longer live passively. You will no longer wait for things to change. You will change your mind, and the world will follow. When you begin to use your imagination consciously, you also begin to see that you are not bound by the past. You are not limited by what has been. You are free in every moment to imagine something entirely new. The past only continues to exist if you continue to imagine it. But the future is always open to be rewritten by your present state of mind. What you imagine today with feeling becomes the experience of tomorrow. And so imagination is not only a mirror, it is a portal. Through it, you step into the life you dare to envision. And here is the beauty of it. You don't need anyone's approval. You don't need conditions to be perfect. You simply need to turn inward and begin. Start by imagining the end. What does it feel like to already be who you desire to be? What does it look like, sound like, taste like to already live in the fulfillment of your dream? Dwell in that state. Saturate yourself in it. Let it become more familiar than the old story. Do this with persistence and faith, and you will prove to yourself that imagination creates reality. Not just sometimes, not just for the lucky few, but always. Quietly, faithfully, without fail. Silence is not weakness, it is wisdom. When you begin to understand the creative power of your imagination, you naturally begin to protect it. You no longer feel the need to share every idea, every vision, or every hope with others because you realize most people do not see as you do. They live according to what is visible. They believe only in what can be measured and proven. But you have begun to see through a different lens, the lens of inner knowing. You have discovered that imagination is the root of all experience. And with that discovery comes a deep respect for the process of creation. Silence becomes a sacred space where the seed of your desire can germinate without interference. When you share your vision prematurely, you expose it to the beliefs, fears, and doubts of others. Even those who love you may speak from limitation, not because they intend harm, but because their inner world does not match yours. They may not understand what it means to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, to live from the end, or to walk by faith, not by sight. And so, when you speak of your desire, they unconsciously project their own disbelief. They question, they doubt, they advise you to be realistic. But realism is just conformity to outer facts. And facts are only the crystallization of former assumptions. If you begin to waver under their influence, your own faith begins to falter and the creative power of your assumption weakens. To protect your inner world is to honor your power. Silence is not about hiding, it is about guarding the sacred. When a seed is planted in the soil, we do not dig it up every day to check its progress. We water it. We protect it from harsh conditions. We trust the invisible process. In the same way, when you plant a desire in imagination, you must trust its unfolding. You must give it the nourishment of attention, the warmth of belief, and the quiet strength of patience. Words spoken too soon are like hands that dig up the seed before it takes root. The more you grow in inner awareness, the more you realize that most of the work is done in stillness. It is in silence that the assumption deepens, the vision clarifies, and the inner world rearranges. You become less reactive to what is happening outside because you know the truth of what is forming within. You do not argue with appearances. You do not need to convince others. You simply persist in the inner knowing that what you have imagined is already yours. This silence also gives you sovereignty. When you keep your process to yourself, you stay centered in your own authority. You are no longer seeking validation. You are not waiting for someone to agree before you believe. The moment you stop needing agreement, you become powerful. Agreement from others is temporary and shallow. True belief is internal and lasting. It is better to walk alone in truth than to stand surrounded by people who cannot see your vision, not out of arrogance, but out of clarity, out of alignment with something higher. This is why the wise speak little and observe much. They do not react quickly. They do not share everything. They live with intention. Every word is chosen. Every silence is deliberate. Because they know the world is responding not to their explanations, but to their assumptions. Not to their noise, but to their state of being. When you remain silent, you can hear your own inner voice more clearly. You can tune into the feeling of the wish fulfilled without distraction. You can dwell on the end quietly, consistently, until it becomes second nature. There is a sacredness in privacy. Your inner world is your temple. What you hold there must be treated with reverence. Not everyone needs to know what you are creating. Not everyone needs to understand the shifts taking place inside you. The more you share, the more you risk being pulled into discussion, debate, or defense. And all of that pulls energy away from the creation itself. But when you hold your vision in silence, you keep it intact. You allow it to ripen in its own time. Many people fail to manifest their desires not because they lack belief, but because they expose the seed too soon. They speak about it before it is settled within them. They seek applause before the performance has begun. And when they are met with resistance, skepticism, or misunderstanding, their inner world begins to shake. They doubt what they once believed so strongly. This is why silence is power. It keeps you anchored. It allows your belief to strengthen without interruption. It gives your imagination space to breathe. There is also a great joy in knowing that the world will one day see what you have already seen in silence. What you have lived inwardly will become visible outwardly. And when it does, it will not be because you talked about it. It will be because you became it. You embodied the state, and the state externalized itself. The manifestation will be a reflection of your private communion with your own imagination. You will have created it not through force, but through faith. Not through shouting, but through silent knowing. This is the secret life of the mystic, the artist, the visionary. They live first within. They walk with unseen realities. They dwell in futures no one else believes are possible. And they do it without needing applause. Their satisfaction comes not from recognition, but from alignment, from knowing they are in tune with the deeper laws of life. This is where real fulfillment lives. Not in being seen, but in being true to what you know within. So when the desire arises, when the vision comes, when the new reality begins to form in imagination, hold it gently, guard it with silence, speak to it in the quiet language of faith. Let your inner speech be filled with assurance and your outer speech be still. Let your silence be your strength. Not because you are hiding, but because you are creating. And creation, when it is real, does not need to be announced. It simply unfolds and the world watches in wonder. The secret of inner speech is the secret of creation itself. What you continually say to yourself in the silence of your mind forms the blueprint of your reality. It is not the spoken word that moves the world, but the unspoken conversation. The constant dialogue running beneath your actions, beneath your personality, beneath what others can see. This inner monologue, this invisible speech is the workshop of your future. It carries with it the essence of belief, of expectation, and of self-concept. You are always talking to yourself. The question is, what are you saying? Most people do not realize that their inner speech is shaping their destiny. They believe their thoughts are harmless or idle. But thought is never idle. It is a seed, and inner speech is the water that gives it life. The words you repeat to yourself about who you are, what life is, what is possible and impossible, form the mold into which life must pour itself. Inner speech is assumption made audible to the self, and what you assume to be true within, you will eventually experience without. When you begin to understand this law, you become highly selective about what you entertain inwardly. You no longer casually say, I can't do that, or that always happens to me, or things never work out. Because now you know that your inner speech is creative. It is not commentary, it is command. It is not observation, it is construction. Your inner dialogue becomes your decree, and life has no choice but to respond in kind. This is why keeping your mouth shut outwardly becomes essential. When you understand the power of inner speech, you stop wasting words on external explanations. You don't need to justify yourself or convince others or explain your process. What you're building is being built in silence, in the hidden chambers of your mind, where your assumptions, beliefs, and repeated phrases are laying down the architecture of your world. The opinions of others hold no power unless you make them part of your inner speech. Their doubts are powerless unless you rehearse them mentally. Their disbelief cannot enter unless you adopt it through your own inner conversations. You're claiming control of your inner speech. You begin by listening, not to the world, but to yourself. You pay attention to what you say when no one is around. Do you speak as the person who has already received the desire? Do you imagine conversations from the end where you are already congratulated, celebrated, fulfilled? Or do you dwell in complaints, in worries, in the repetition of what is not working? This is not about discipline for discipline's sake. It is about aligning your inner speech with the world you want to experience. Because you cannot experience what you have not first accepted inwardly. Inner speech reveals your true beliefs, and belief is the root of manifestation. You may say aloud, I believe I am successful, but if your inner speech is filled with self-criticism, comparison, and doubt, that belief has not taken root. You do not have to shout your desires into existence. You have to whisper them into being with a gentle, consistent repetition of inner truth. Not loud, not dramatic, but steady, calm, and sure. The most powerful transformations often happen in silence, because silence allows the new belief to settle deeply without interference. When you understand the creative nature of inner speech, you become your own sculptor. You begin to shape your inner world with precision and care. You notice the old scripts, the inherited voices, the phrases you picked up from society, from parents, from past failures, and then you begin to change them. You replace them with new sentences, new assumptions, new declarations of identity, not once, but again and again, until they become second nature, until they become automatic, until they feel like you. And once your inner speech changes, your experience must follow. It is not a question of chance, it is a question of law. You are not begging the universe for favor. You are speaking in alignment with the law of consciousness, which says that what you accept as true within must become fact without. And so you go within and you speak as one who already is, already has, already knows. You don't need the world to confirm it. You confirm it within yourself, over and over, until your state of consciousness shifts. In the silence of your own mind, you can live from the end. You can walk through rooms that have not yet been built. You can hear voices praising accomplishments that have not yet occurred. You can imagine scenes that imply your dream is already real, and by doing so you make it real, first within, then without. You are not pretending, you are creating. Pretending ends when you open your eyes. Creating continues because it is based not on sight but on assumption. Many fail to manifest what they desire because they continue to speak from the lack of it. Their inner speech confirms the absence rather than the presence. They say, I want instead of I am. They say, I hope one day instead of it is done. And life listens, not to the loud voice, but to the deep repetitive current of belief. You cannot fool this law. It responds to what you truly are, not what you say you are. And that what you are is made known by your inner speech. So if you want to change your life, change the way you speak to yourself. Begin each day in the assumption of your wish fulfilled. Carry that assumption in silence. Let it become your new mental atmosphere. Do not speak about it unless it strengthens the state. Avoid conversations that pull you back into old beliefs. Speak less outwardly and more inwardly. Commune with the vision in your heart as if it were already fact. Let your mind become a sanctuary where only the desired is affirmed. In this way, you will build a new reality, not through effort, but through alignment. Not by striving, but by speaking in the quiet, steady language of fulfillment. Others may not understand. They may question your silence. They may wonder why you no longer talk about problems or seek advice. But you will know, you will feel the shift, and you will trust it, because you are no longer reacting to life. You are creating it, word by inner word. And once you understand that your imagination is the workshop of creation, you begin to grasp why silence becomes your greatest ally. The world around you, filled with noise, distraction, and contradiction, seeks to drag your attention outward. But attention is the currency of creation. What you continually focus on, you give life to. So when you know the secret that your inner world is the source of all outer events, you become extremely protective of your focus. You learn to keep your mouth shut, not because you are hiding, but because you are preserving. You are cultivating something sacred, something delicate, something that must be nurtured in stillness. Imagination is not fantasy, it is reality not yet seen. And what you consistently imagine, feelingly, vividly, and with conviction, must appear in the physical world. The imagination is not a place to escape, it is a tool to command. If you imagine with authority, assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are planting the seeds of tomorrow's events. But these seeds are sensitive. They must be kept in the fertile ground of inner conviction. They must be protected from the harsh winds of other people's doubts, disbelief, and logic. The moment you speak too soon about what you are imagining, you invite contamination. You invite the opinions of those who do not see what you see, who do not believe what you believe, who do not feel what you feel. And if you are not deeply rooted in your assumption, their questions and skepticism can uproot your vision. Their disbelief can begin to creep into your own consciousness. And before you realize it, you've shifted from the end to the doubt, from the fulfilled to the waiting, from the knowing to the hoping. And creation halts, not because the power was lost, but because the attention was diverted. This is why the wise create in silence. They go within and dwell in the end. They walk through scenes in their imagination that imply their desire is already true. They hear the voices of others congratulating them. They feel the satisfaction of having it now. And they do this again and again until it becomes natural, automatic, and effortless. Until they no longer need to talk about it because they are living from it. When you truly believe that something is already yours, you do not need to convince anyone, you do not need approval, you do not need to broadcast, you simply dwell in the knowing. There is a stillness that comes with true conviction. It is not the stillness of passivity, it is the stillness of mastery. The artist does not explain the painting before it is finished. The builder does not invite inspection while the foundation is being laid. So too must you guard your imaginative acts as sacred blueprints. Let them form fully in the inner realm before you bring them into the outer. And even then, let your manifestations speak for themselves. You do not need to prove the law. You need only to live it. When you understand the creative power of imagination, You stop chasing evidence in the world and start cultivating the inner experience. You realize that to persist inwardly is far more effective than to hustle outwardly. The most effective action is the inner act of assumption. It is imagining the scene that would follow the fulfillment of your desire and then resting in the emotional atmosphere of that scene. Not once, but repeatedly, not forcefully, but naturally. You rehearse the end until it feels like home. And yet, the world will not understand this. It will demand progress reports, explanations, and rational plans. But imagination transcends logic. It does not follow the predictable path. What you imagine in silence may unfold through means you could never foresee. That is why you must not dilute it with explanation. Do not try to fit your vision into the logic of others. Do not try to gain their permission. Create in silence and let life orchestrate the how. To imagine in silence is to trust the unseen. It is to become one with your desire before the world recognizes it. And in this oneness, you find peace. You are no longer waiting, you are living. You are no longer wishing, you are knowing. You are no longer trying, you are being. And from that state of being, all things flow naturally. Not through struggle, but through alignment. Many people sabotage their manifestations by talking too soon. They imagine something wonderful, feel it deeply, and then share it with someone who does not understand. That person questions it, mocks it, or redirects their attention to reality. And in that moment, the imaginative act loses its clarity. The feeling fades. Doubt creeps in, and the manifestation is delayed not by lack of power, but by divided attention. So learn to honor your vision with silence. Let it grow in the dark like a seed in the soil. This does not mean you are secretive out of fear. It means you are selective out of wisdom. You know that the imagination is your bridge to the infinite, and you do not invite small minds to walk that bridge with you. You do not explain your dreams to those who have never dared to dream. You do not dilute the sacred with the trivial. Instead, you turn inward again and again and dwell in the atmosphere of the fulfilled state. You let the feeling become your dwelling place. And from that dwelling place, you begin to speak differently, not necessarily to others, but to yourself. You no longer say, I hope it works. You say, it is done. You no longer say, maybe one day. You say, this is who I am. Your inner speech becomes the language of possession, of presence, of fulfillment. And your imagination aligns accordingly, creating only what matches that vibration. So protect your imagination, nurture it, feed it only what supports your vision, avoid conversations that contradict your end, refuse to entertain questions that doubt your ability, and above all, keep your inner world rich, vivid, and alive. Let the outer world catch up on its own. It always does, but first it must follow the pattern laid out in the unseen. That pattern is your imagination, shaped by your assumptions, fueled by your attention, and anchored by your silence. Once you recognize that the most powerful transformations occur within, you begin to value silence not as emptiness, but as fertile ground. The moment you uncover the truth that consciousness is the only reality, that your imagination is the true cause behind every event, you understand why sharing prematurely or carelessly can be a betrayal of your own power. Most people speak to be validated. They want confirmation, applause, agreement, but the one who knows the secret has no need for validation, because the truth is no longer up for debate. It is experienced internally and trusted implicitly. There is a sacredness to your inner world once you realize it is the mold from which your outer world is shaped. Every thought, every feeling, every assumption held consistently is an act of creation. You are never merely thinking or daydreaming. You are selecting, you are choosing states of consciousness that will inevitably harden into fact. And this is not a theory, it is law. As within, so without. Once you realize that this is how all things come to be, you understand the value of inner security. You become less concerned with opinions and more focused on sustaining the atmosphere of the fulfilled desire. Sharing your vision too soon often comes from a subtle insecurity. A part of you wants someone else to say, yes, that's possible, or that sounds amazing. But the very need to hear that suggests that you are not fully dwelling in the assumption yet. Because when you are living in the end in consciousness, you do not ask for permission. You do not consult the outside world for confirmation. You move through your days from the felt reality of the outcome. And because of that inner security, you remain still, silent, and confident. When your inner conviction is firm, silence becomes effortless. You have nothing to prove and nothing to defend. You are not reacting to the world, you are creating it. You don't need to argue your case because the evidence is not external yet. The evidence is your state of being. And when you persist in that state long enough, the world will reflect it back to you with uncanny accuracy. But if you speak too soon, if you try to explain the unseen to those who cannot see it, you open yourself to unnecessary resistance. You invite energy that is not aligned with your vision, and in doing so, you risk diluting your faith. The truth is, no one else needs to understand your dream. It was given to you. The images you see in your imagination, the desires that stir within you, were planted by the divine self. They are invitations to embody new states, and it is your job to accept that invitation in silence, not to seek consensus, but to dwell in certainty, to walk through the world as though it is already done, because in consciousness, it is already done. Time simply has to catch up. This kind of silent confidence is not loud. It is not boastful. It does not try to convince or convert. It simply is. And it radiates. People may not know what you are creating, but they will feel something different about you. Your presence changes because you are no longer waiting. You are no longer hoping. You are no longer seeking. You are being. And this shift is profound. It makes you magnetic, not because of anything you say, but because of what you embody. True faith never begs for approval. It stands alone and it stands tall. It does not require applause or agreement. And this is why silence is often the companion of the most powerful creators. They are not hiding, they are holding. They are holding the vision, holding the state, holding the vibration. Not because they doubt it, but because they honor it. Because they know that this sacred process of assumption is delicate in its beginning. And just as you would not dig up a seed to prove it's growing, you do not speak your manifestation into the world before it has taken root. When you understand this, your inner world becomes your sanctuary. It becomes the place where you go not to escape, but to align. Every time you return to the assumption of your wish fulfilled, you are realigning yourself with the reality you have chosen. And this inner alignment matters more than any external circumstance. In fact, it is the very thing that causes those circumstances to shift. So you protect it, you cultivate it, and most importantly, you do not expose it to premature scrutiny. This doesn't mean you never speak of your goals. It means you speak only when moved from a place of overflow, not lack. You speak when the assumption has become so natural to you that the outer conversation is merely an echo of the inner truth. And even then, you speak not to convince, but to express. Because by then the evidence is already unfolding. The world has begun to conform, and your words are simply reflections of a state you already possess. There is great power in restraint, in knowing you could explain but choosing not to, in understanding deeply but remaining quiet, not because you are unsure but because you are rooted. The tree does not announce its growth, it simply grows. The flower does not ask permission to bloom, it simply opens. And in the same way, your manifestation does not need marketing, it needs nourishment. It needs your quiet attention, your still belief, your calm persistence. The more deeply you trust in the power within, the less you will need to speak about it. Because trust does not argue, it does not prove, it dwells, it abides. It assumes the feeling of the wish fulfilled and lives from it. That is the secret, and once you know it, you will find that silence is not emptiness, it is creative space. It is the invisible womb from which all things are born, and to keep that space clear, pure, and undisturbed is the work of the true artist of reality. Not everyone will understand your silence, but those who know, know. They see the light in your eyes. They feel the power in your presence, and they realize you are no longer waiting for the world. You have become the cause. To act as if you possess everything is to recognize that the world around you is a reflection of your inner consciousness. It is an understanding that what you believe to be true is the very essence that shapes your reality. This is not merely a mental exercise, but a way of life, a way of being, thinking, and feeling as though everything you desire is already yours. The secret lies in your imagination. Imagination is the creative force that brings into existence everything that you will ever experience. If you can imagine it, you are already in possession of it. It is not a matter of waiting for things to appear in the physical world. It is knowing, without a doubt, that they are already yours in the unseen world. This inner knowing gives rise to the outward manifestation. You must live as if your desires have already come true. When you wake in the morning, carry the feeling of the fulfilled desire with you, and let it guide your actions throughout the day. Feel the success, feel the joy, feel the peace, as if it is already a part of you. Do not wait for external circumstances to change before you change your perception. The change happens within, and the external follows. Walk through life with confidence, as though everything you've ever wanted is already in your possession. Speak with the certainty of one who knows that their desires are no longer distant possibilities, but current realities. Every word, every action, every thought should align with the belief that you are already in possession of all that you seek. When doubt arises, you must immediately affirm the truth within you. You must silence the mind's chatter with a firm belief that what you desire is already yours. As you persist in this mental discipline, your outer world will inevitably conform to your inner beliefs. Remember, your imagination is the bridge between your current experience and the life you desire. The more vividly you imagine yourself as the person who already possesses all, the more real it will become to you. Your imagination is not just a tool, it is the fabric of your reality. What you impress upon it, you shall experience. Imagination is the most powerful tool you possess for creating the life you desire. It is not simply a mental exercise or a whimsical distraction, it is the very fabric of reality itself. Through imagination, you are able to shape your experiences, your circumstances, and ultimately your entire world. The key to unlocking everything you wish to possess lies within your ability to vividly imagine it. This imagination is not a passive act, it is an active creative force that moves you from where you are now to where you want to be. When you begin to understand the immense power of your imagination, you realize that the physical world is merely a reflection of your internal state of being. Everything you see around you, your home, your relationships, your career, even the money in your bank account, is the result of past thoughts and images you've held in your mind. These thoughts are the seeds from which your reality has grown. And just as you have the ability to reflect upon the past, You also have the power to create a future that aligns with your deepest desires. This power is unlocked through imagination. Imagine for a moment that your dream life is already real right now. Picture yourself living in your dream home, experiencing the freedom of financial abundance, surrounded by loving and supportive people, and doing the work you feel most passionate about. Close your eyes and let the images form in your mind. Notice how you feel in this imagined reality. Feel the excitement, the gratitude, the peace, and the joy as though you are already living in that state. Allow yourself to completely embody the emotions associated with this imagined life, because this is where the magic happens. The feeling you generate is the key to bringing this imagined reality into being. The power of your imagination works on the principle of feeling. When you feel the emotions associated with the fulfillment of your desire, you are broadcasting a signal into the universe. This signal, your emotional frequency, sends a powerful message that says, I already have it. And when you hold that feeling consistently, it must manifest in your outer world. Your emotions are not just reactions to the external world. They are the cause of your experiences. The more vividly you can imagine your desired reality, the more intensely you can feel the emotions connected to it, the more quickly it will materialize. But this process requires more than just daydreaming or thinking about what you want. It requires belief. Belief is the foundation that allows your imagination to take root and grow into something tangible. If you do not believe that it is possible for you to possess what you desire, then your imagination will remain an idle fantasy disconnected from the reality you live in. It is your belief that connects your imagination to the realm of possibility. This is why it is so important to affirm daily that you already have what you want, not just in passing or half-heartedly, but with conviction, knowing that you are creating a reality that already exists in the realm of imagination. The more you believe in the power of your imagination, the more it will shape your reality. Your thoughts become things, but your emotions are what give them life. When you act from a place of belief and feeling, you are no longer just imagining in the abstract. You are engaging in the process of creation itself. The beauty of this process is that you do not need to know the how of your desires. You do not need to understand how they will manifest or what steps you need to take. The imagination does not need your logic or reason to create what you desire. All you need to do is immerse yourself in the feeling of the wish fulfilled and trust that the universe will align the circumstances for you. This is the key to acting as if you possess everything. You do not have to figure out the detail. Your job is to maintain the vision, feel the emotions, and trust in the unseen workings of the universe. Another important aspect of using your imagination to create your reality is the understanding that the present moment is all there is. The past does not define you, and the future does not exist until you create it. The only thing you have control over is the present moment and the thoughts you entertain right now. If you can consistently imagine the life you want as already real, then the present moment will shift to match that vision. The future you desire is not something that is far off or waiting for the right circumstances to happen. It is already here, in the present, waiting for you to claim it. Imagine that you are already the person who possesses everything you want. Feel the confidence, the peace, the contentment, and the joy that come with knowing that you are already living the life you dreamed of. The more you focus on this feeling, the more it will become your new reality. And as this feeling becomes your dominant emotional state, the world around you will begin to shift to match it. Your actions, your words, and your energy will naturally align with this new reality, and what you have imagined will become visible in the physical world. It's important to realize that this power is within everyone. No one is born with the special ability to create the life they desire. It is available to anyone who is willing to engage with their imagination and their emotions. Your imagination is not bound by time or space. You can imagine anything at any moment and it will begin to take shape. The key is consistency and faith. By consistently using your imagination to create the life you desire and having faith in its manifestation, you begin to align your entire being with the life you envision. The external world may not change immediately, but trust in the process. The more you practice imagining yourself as the person who already possesses everything, the quicker your external reality will reflect your internal state. There is no limit to what you can create, because your imagination is boundless. As long as you can imagine it and feel it as true, it will eventually materialize. So, begin today. Start imagining the life you want as already yours. Let your imagination be your guide and your emotions be the fuel that drives your creation. Know that you are capable of bringing forth everything you desire simply by imagining it into existence. Your imagination is not just a tool, it is the very source of all creation. To live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled is a profound and transformative practice. It goes beyond the intellectual understanding that you can have what you desire. It moves into the realm of embodying that reality, feeling it and experiencing it in the present moment as though it already exists. This is the essence of creation, for what you feel becomes your reality. When you act as if your desires are already fulfilled, you align yourself with the very vibration of your desires, creating the conditions for them to manifest in your life. The first step in living in the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to truly believe that what you desire is not a future possibility but a present reality. This may sound counterintuitive, especially when you are in a situation where what you desire seems far away or completely out of reach. But the key to manifesting anything is to understand that all things exist in the realm of possibility. When you can imagine your desire and feel as though it is already yours, you create a connection between your inner state and the outer world. Feeling is the magnetic force that draws your desires into your life. It is not enough to simply think about what you want or to visualize it. Those are important steps. But the real work begins when you allow yourself to feel the emotions associated with your desire. You must become one with the experience of having what you desire. Imagine yourself already living the life you want to live. See yourself in your ideal situation, experiencing all the feelings that come with it. Whether it's the joy of success, the peace of financial freedom, the warmth of loving relationships, or the fulfillment of your personal ambitions. For example, if you desire financial abundance, don't just picture money in your bank account. Imagine the feelings that would accompany that abundance. Feel the sense of freedom, security, and excitement. How does it feel to pay off your debts with ease? How does it feel to know that you are able to give generously to others, to invest in your dreams, or to live without financial stress? Allow those feelings to wash over you as though they are already your reality. As you do this, you send a powerful signal to your subconscious mind, which then aligns your actions, thoughts, and experiences with this new emotional state. Living in the feeling of the wish fulfilled also requires you to abandon the doubts and fears that typically arise when you think about your desires. These negative emotions only create resistance and prevent your desires from manifesting. Doubt and fear are the opposite of faith and belief. When you feel doubt, you are acknowledging that what you desire is something outside of yourself, something that you don't yet have. This creates a gap between where you are and where you want to be. But when you let go of doubt and embrace the feeling of fulfillment, you bridge that gap and make your desires a part of your current experience. It's important to recognize that the mind often wants to hold on to the how of manifestation. We tend to believe that we must know how everything will unfold before we can truly experience the fulfillment of our desires. But this is where the power of feeling comes in. You don't need to know how things will come to pass. You only need to focus on the feeling of having it. Trust that the universe, or whatever higher force you believe in, will take care of the details. Your job is simply to feel the emotions associated with your desire and to trust in the process of creation. These can be a difficult practice for many, especially when external circumstances are not yet reflecting what you desire. However, this is where the true test of faith lies. The ability to live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, even when the outer world seems to be in opposition, is the practice that separates those who achieve their desires from those who remain stuck. When you can feel the joy, the peace, and the satisfaction of your desire, regardless of what is happening around you, you are teaching your subconscious mind that your new reality is already true. In time, your outer world must reflect what you are feeling on the inside. When you consistently feel the emotions of your wish fulfilled, you are creating new neural pathways in your brain. These pathways reinforce the belief that your desires are already here, and over time, this belief becomes ingrained in your subconscious. Your subconscious mind, which is responsible for creating your external reality, cannot distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. When you focus on feeling the fulfillment of your desires, your subconscious mind takes it as a directive to bring those desires into your physical reality. The more you practice feeling your desires as if they are already yours, the stronger this belief becomes, and the more rapidly your desires materialize. In this process, it's also essential to cultivate an attitude of gratitude. Gratitude is one of the highest vibrations you can emit, and it has the power to magnify everything you are seeking. When you feel grateful for your desires as if they have already come to pass, you accelerate the manifestation process. Gratitude is not just about saying thank you. It is about embodying the feeling of having what you want and expressing deep appreciation for it. When you can be grateful for what you already have, even if it seems small or insignificant, you create space for more to come into your life. Living in the feeling of the wish fulfilled requires a shift in how you see yourself and the world. You must begin to see yourself as someone who is worthy of everything you desire. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is not just about imagining a better situation or more money. It is about stepping into the consciousness of abundance, success, and self-worth. You must believe deep down that you are worthy of all that you desire, and this belief will naturally reflect in your emotions. Another aspect of this practice is that it requires consistency. It's not enough to feel the emotions of fulfillment for a few moments and then go back to thinking that your desires are distant or impossible. To truly live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you must make it a regular part of your life. Practice feeling the joy, the peace, the success, the love, and all the emotions associated with your desire on a daily basis. Over time, these feelings will become your new reality, and your desires will manifest more rapidly and effortlessly. Ultimately, living in the feeling of the wish fulfilled is about trusting the process of creation. It is about having faith in the unseen and believing that everything you desire is already on its way to you. When you live from this place of fulfillment, you stop chasing after your desires, and instead you allow them to come to you. You become a magnet for everything you've ever wanted. This practice is not just a mental exercise. It is a way of being, thinking, and feeling that aligns your entire being with the life you wish to live. By living in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you embody the very essence of creation itself. Confidence in possession is an essential quality for anyone who seeks to manifest their desires and create the life they dream of. It is not simply about having faith or imagining what you want. It is about the deep, unwavering belief that everything you seek is already yours. This belief is not theoretical or abstract. It is the embodiment of the certainty that what you desire is inevitable, that it exists within you, and that it is waiting to manifest into your reality. Acting from this place of confidence transforms the way you interact with the world and accelerates the manifestation process. When you walk through life with the certainty that your desires are already fulfilled, you shift the very energy you emit. Confidence in possession is about living in the present moment, as though your desires are not things that are coming, but things that are already here. It is not a matter of waiting for external circumstances to change, before you begin to believe in your success. Instead, you take the position of someone who already has what they want, and you carry that energy with you into everything you do. This means that your thoughts, actions, and words are all aligned with the knowledge that your desires are already a part of your current reality. The key to acting with confidence in possession is to cultivate a mindset of, I already have it. When you believe that what you desire is already yours, you stop acting as though you are lacking something or waiting for something to happen. You begin to walk with a sense of purpose, knowing that your dreams are not distant or unattainable. They are here within your grasp, and all that is required is your acknowledgement and the embodiment of the feeling of possession. This energy of possession is magnetic, and it draws the things you desire into your life with ease. The power of confidence in possession lies in the ability to remain grounded in this belief, even in the face of challenges or setbacks. When you are certain that what you want is already yours, nothing can shake your belief. It is this unshakable confidence that allows you to persevere when obstacles arise, because you understand that the external world is simply a reflection of your internal state. The more you embody the feeling of having what you desire, the more the external world begins to conform to your inner reality. This is where true power lies, not in what happens around you, but in how you respond to it. If you believe that your desires are already a part of your life, external circumstances cannot convince you otherwise. And this kind of confidence also manifests in how you carry yourself. When you walk through the world with the certainty that you possess everything you want, your energy shifts, and people begin to treat you in accordance with the energy you are emitting. This does not mean that you need to be arrogant or boastful. It means that you carry yourself with the quiet confidence of someone who knows their worth and understands their power. People are naturally drawn to this kind of energy, and opportunities begin to present themselves as a result. When you know you are worthy of your desires, the universe begins to align everything in your favor. Furthermore, confidence in possession means trusting that the universe is always working in your favor. It is not about forcing things to happen or trying to manipulate circumstances. Instead, it is about being in alignment with the flow of life and trusting that everything you desire is already on its way to you. The universe does not respond to desperation or neediness. It responds to confidence, assurance, and trust. When you trust that your desires are already fulfilled, you allow the universe to bring them to you in the perfect way and at the perfect time. You let go of the need to control every detail, because you understand that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. One of the most powerful aspects of confidence in possession is the way it impacts your actions. When you are confident that your desires are already yours, you begin to take action as though they are inevitable. You do not wait for things to fall into place before you start moving forward. You act as if success, abundance, love, or whatever it is you desire is already a part of your life. This creates a sense of momentum that propels you toward your goals. Confidence in possession eliminates the feeling of being stuck or paralyzed by fear. Instead of questioning whether you can achieve your dreams, you take bold, decisive action, knowing that everything is unfolding in alignment with your vision. This confidence is also deeply connected to self-worth. When you truly believe that you are deserving of all that you desire, you stop doubting your ability to create the life you want. Confidence in possession requires you to recognize your inherent value and to stop seeking validation or approval from others. When you understand that you already possess everything you need within you, you no longer rely on external factors to determine your worth. You begin to trust your own intuition and inner guidance, which leads you to take the right actions at the right time. This inner certainty is what allows you to manifest your desires with ease, because you are no longer looking outside yourself for confirmation that you can have what you want. It is important to understand that confidence in possession is not about pretending or faking it until you make it. It is about genuinely aligning yourself with the truth that everything you desire is already yours. This alignment is what gives you the strength to stay grounded in the feeling of fulfillment regardless of your external circumstances. The more you embody this belief, the more your reality will reflect it. The act of living as though your desires are already fulfilled is the very act of creation. It is the process of bringing your inner vision into the physical world by consistently acting as though it is already real. The energy of confidence in possession also protects you from the negativity or skepticism of others. When you are certain of your worth and your power, the opinions of others cannot sway you. You are no longer dependent on their approval or validation to feel secure in your own abilities. This independence of thought and belief strengthens your confidence as you become less concerned with what others think or say. Instead, you are focused on your own truth and the knowing that your desires are already yours. Confidence in possession is also about overcoming fear. Fear often arises when we doubt our ability to achieve our dreams, or when we worry that we will never reach our goals. But when you act as if you already possess everything you desire, fear begins to dissipate. Confidence in possession allows you to step into your full power and embrace the unknown with excitement rather than dread. Fear is simply a reflection of uncertainty, but when you live as though your desires are already realized, you no longer have room for fear. The more you trust that everything is already yours, the less you will be affected by the fear that once held you back. Living with confidence in possession is an ongoing practice, one that requires you to consistently align your thoughts, feelings, and actions with the belief that everything you desire is already yours. As you embody this state of being, you become a magnet for your desires, and they begin to unfold before you with grace and ease. Confidence in possession is the key to manifesting your dreams. It is the unwavering belief that what you seek is already on its way to you. When you live from this place of certainty, nothing is impossible. Your desires are not distant or unattainable. They are already yours, and the universe is simply waiting for you to acknowledge it. The practice of remaining persistent in your belief is one of the most powerful aspects of manifestation. It is easy to feel inspired and hopeful when things are going well. But the true strength of your inner power emerges when you continue to trust and believe in the fulfillment of your desires, even when external circumstances seem to contradict them. Persistence is not simply about holding on to a wish or desire with force. It is about cultivating an unwavering faith that your desires are already on their way, regardless of what you see in the external world. This persistence in belief becomes the foundation for transformation. To persist in your belief is to stay grounded in your vision and to maintain your focus on the truth of your desires even when external reality may suggest otherwise. Often, the external world presents challenges, delays, or situations that appear to be in opposition to what we want. This is where many people falter. They allow these outward signs to shake their belief, to cause them to question the possibility of their desires coming to fruition. However, to persist in your belief is to rise above these doubts and trust that the universe, or whatever higher force you believe in, is always working in your favor, even when you cannot see the immediate evidence of it. The persistence of belief requires patience. This does not mean simply waiting passively, but rather continuing to live with the deep knowing that what you desire is already in motion. Patience is an active state of trust. It means that you continue to carry yourself as though your desires are already fulfilled, even when there is no immediate evidence to support that claim. The key to this is emotional alignment. When you persist in the belief that what you want is already on its way, you must keep your emotional state in harmony with that belief. It is about maintaining the feeling of fulfillment, joy, and satisfaction that would come with having your desires already realized. This emotional alignment is what keeps you grounded in your belief, even when everything around you appears uncertain. When you feel doubt creeping in or notice that your circumstances have not yet aligned with your desires, remember that this is part of the process. In those moments, you must reinforce your belief by returning to the emotional state of having your desire already fulfilled. You do this by revisiting the emotions and sensations of what it will feel like when your desire becomes a reality. If your desire is financial abundance, for example, recall the emotions of security, freedom, and gratitude that you would feel. If your desire is a loving relationship, focus on the feelings of warmth, companionship, and unconditional love. When you do this, you are teaching your mind and body that your desire is already here and that no outer condition can take it away. Persistence also means that you do not give in to the temptation of discouragement. The world can often present what seems like setbacks or delays, but these are merely temporary moments that test the strength of your belief. True persistence comes from remaining unwavering in your focus, no matter what the world shows you in the moment. It's easy to feel discouraged when things don't immediately align with your desires, but those are the very moments that your belief needs to be the strongest. The universe works in mysterious ways, and often things must align in ways we cannot yet understand. What may appear as a setback may, in fact, be a necessary step in the fulfillment of your desire. By staying persistent, you allow the universe to orchestrate the most perfect conditions for the manifestation of your dreams. One of the greatest challenges in maintaining persistence in belief is overcoming the fear that your desires won't come to fruition. Fear often arises when there is a gap between your current reality and your desired outcome. The more you focus on the gap, the stronger the fear becomes. But when you persist in your belief, you are not focusing on what is missing or what seems out of reach. Instead, you're focused on the belief that your desire is already in motion. You trust that everything is happening according to plan, even if you cannot yet see the results. This shift in focus from lack to fulfillment is key in overcoming fear. It's about fully surrendering to the belief that the universe is already arranging everything for your highest good, and that nothing is out of your reach. Persistence in belief also requires that you release attachment to the how of manifestation. One of the greatest mistakes people make is to try to figure out exactly how their desires will come to pass. The how is not your job to determine. It is the universe's role to figure out the details. When you persist in your belief, you trust that the universe will take care of the how in ways that are far better than you could ever imagine. Your job is to remain emotionally aligned with your desires and to act as if they are already true. This is where many people go wrong. They hold on to their desire with one hand but keep their other hand open, anxiously trying to control the outcome. This energy of trying to control is a sign of doubt and fear, and it creates resistance. Persistence means letting go of the need to control how things unfold and trusting in the divine timing of the universe. When you persist in your belief, you also remain open to receiving your desires in unexpected ways. Sometimes the fulfillment of your desires may not look exactly as you envisioned it. The universe may have a better plan in mind, one that exceeds your expectations. By staying persistent, you keep yourself open to receiving in whatever form your desires may take. This requires flexibility and an open mind. You must trust that the fulfillment of your desires will come in a way that is aligned with your highest good, even if it is not exactly what you envisioned. Persistence is about being open to the possibilities and trusting the unfolding process. Another aspect of persistence in belief is the importance of self-talk. The way you speak to yourself greatly impacts the strength of your belief. If you are constantly doubting yourself, questioning whether you will ever achieve your desires, or speaking negatively about your situation, you are reinforcing a belief in lack and limitation. However, when you persist in speaking words of affirmation, encouragement, and trust, you strengthen your belief in the fulfillment of your desires. Speak as though your desires are already manifest, and remind yourself regularly that everything you want is on its way. Affirm your worthiness, your power, and your ability to create the life you desire. By doing so, you create a mental and emotional environment that is conducive to manifestation. Persistence in belief also requires surrounding yourself with positivity. The people you interact with, the media you consume, and the environments you place yourself in all influence your thoughts and feelings. If you are constantly surrounded by negativity or people who doubt your abilities, it will be much harder to maintain your belief in the face of challenges. Choose to be around those who uplift you, who believe in you, and who share a similar mindset. Feed your mind with positive, affirming thoughts and expose yourself to things that inspire you. This positive reinforcement will strengthen your belief and make it easier to remain persistent, no matter what is happening externally. The process of persistence in belief is not a passive one. It requires active participation in your own manifestation process. Every moment of doubt, every challenge, and every setback is an opportunity for you to reaffirm your belief and trust in the universe. When you persist in believing that your desires are already fulfilled, you begin to shift your inner world to match the reality you wish to create. Over time, this persistent belief will become second nature, and your desires will unfold effortlessly before you. Persistence in your belief is the key that unlocks the doors to your dreams. It is the unwavering faith that your desires are already in motion, regardless of the challenges that may arise. By remaining steadfast in your belief, you create a powerful magnet for the things you want to manifest. Trust, patience, and unwavering faith are the qualities that make persistence in belief a transformative force in your life. The power of living in the present moment is one of the most profound truths of manifestation. It's easy to get caught up in thoughts about the future or dwell on past experiences. But the key to manifesting what you desire lies in your ability to fully immerse yourself in the now. Many people mistakenly think that they will be happy or fulfilled once their desires come to fruition. This future-based mindset keeps them in a state of longing and lack, rather than cultivating the abundant feeling of already having what they want. To truly manifest your desires, you must live in the present as though your desires are already realized. This isn't just about pretending or daydreaming, it's about embodying the emotional state of fulfillment in the present moment. The essence of living in the present is understanding that the present is all you truly have. The past is gone and the future has yet to come. The present moment is where your power lies. This is where you can make a shift in your energy, your emotions, and your thoughts. When you focus on the present moment, you align your inner world with the reality you wish to create. This alignment is the key to manifesting your desire. Living in the present means that you stop postponing your happiness and fulfillment until the future. You stop waiting for your external circumstances to change before you feel abundant, joyful, or successful. Instead, you begin to feel those things now. When you begin to act as if you already possess what you desire, you change the energy you are sending out into the universe. The law of attraction is always at work, and the energy you emit into the world is what will come back to you. If you're constantly waiting for your desires to manifest before you feel good, you are essentially sending out an energy of lack and need. On the other hand, if you feel abundant and grateful now, regardless of your current situation, you send out an energy of abundance that will attract more of the same. To live in the present moment is to choose to be fully engaged with the here and now, without distractions or anxieties about what might happen in the future. It means embracing each moment with the understanding that what you focus on and what you feel in the present is what shapes your reality. Your thoughts and emotions are always in motion, and they are constantly creating your future. So, the most powerful thing you can do is to focus on what you want in the present moment, as though it has already arrived. You do this by imagining and feeling the emotions associated with your desires as if they are already true. This practice is particularly powerful because it helps you to cultivate a sense of ownership over your desires. When you live in the present moment, you claim the feelings of success, fulfillment, and joy as your own. You stop seeing these feelings as something that is outside of you, something that you need to acquire in the future. Instead, you begin to embody them now. For example, if your desire is to live in a beautiful home, you can begin to act as if you already live there. You can picture yourself walking through the rooms of your ideal house, feeling the comfort, peace, and joy that come with having that space. You begin to feel that sense of home within you, and it becomes a part of your present reality. This emotional alignment sends a signal to the universe that you are ready to receive what you desire. Living in the present moment also means releasing the need for validation or approval from others. Often we wait for external circumstances to change or for others to approve of us before we feel good about ourselves or our achievements. But the power of living in the now is in realizing that your worth is not dependent on others' opinions or external achievements. You can feel complete, worthy, and abundant in this very moment. By shifting your focus inward, you stop giving away your power to the future or to the opinions of others. Instead, you start validating yourself and feeling good about who you are right now. One of the most transformative aspects of living in the present is letting go of fear. Fear often arises when we focus on what might happen in the future or dwell on past experiences that cause pain. When we live in the present, we recognize that we are safe and supported in the now. The future, which can often be a source of anxiety, does not exist yet. The past is gone. All you have is the moment you are living in right now. By focusing on this present moment, you remove the fear of the unknown and release the hold that past experiences may have had on you. This is incredibly powerful because fear is one of the greatest blockers to manifestation. When you are fearful, you send out a vibration of lack and limitation. But when you live in the present moment, grounded and centered in who you are, fear has no place in your life. To live in the present moment is to embrace gratitude. Gratitude is one of the most potent emotions that can shift your vibration and align you with your desires. When you are grateful for what you have now, you create a powerful force of attraction that draws more of what you want into your life. Gratitude shifts your focus from what is missing to what is already present. It allows you to see the abundance that exists right now, no matter your circumstance. This practice is incredibly important because it trains your mind to focus on the positive aspects of your life, rather than what you lack or what hasn't yet manifested. When you are grateful for the present, you align yourself with the frequency of abundance. Living in the present also requires a deep trust in the process of manifestation. When you are focused on the present moment, you understand that everything is unfolding in divine timing. You stop rushing or forcing things to happen according to your own timeline. Instead, you surrender to the flow of life, knowing that everything is happening exactly as it should. This trust in the process frees you from the stress and anxiety that often come with trying to control the outcome of your desires. When you trust that everything is unfolding for your highest good, you create a peaceful and abundant energy that draws your desires toward you. By living in the present, you release the need for approval from the outside world. This is one of the most liberating aspects of the practice. When you fully embrace the present, you begin to realize that your power is within you. You do not need others to validate your dreams or to tell you that you are worthy. You already know that you are worthy because you feel it in the present moment. This inner knowing becomes your foundation, and it radiates outward, attracting the experiences, people, and opportunities that align with your desires. The power of living in the present moment is immense. It is the key to unlocking your potential and aligning yourself with the life you desire. When you focus on the now, you stop postponing your happiness and success. You start to embody the feelings of having your desires already fulfilled, which sends out a powerful signal to the universe. The more you live in the present, the more your reality begins to reflect the energy you are putting out. By focusing on the present, you align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with your desires, and you open yourself up to receiving them in perfect divine timing. This is the essence of true manifestation, living as if you already possess everything you desire. right here, right now.